Hey, how's it going? This is Trenton from No Nut Clarity, back at you with another video. This time, I want to talk about a topic involving understanding other people, understanding why people act the way they do, and also understanding what you should and shouldn't accept out of your life if somebody acts towards you a certain way, and being able to say no to not only the person that's treating you wrong, but being able to say no to yourself for allowing something like that to happen to you. So to get started, I want to talk about my own experience where I was put in a situation to where being myself was made to feel like it wasn't okay. As in, like, doing things I want to do, like telling jokes that I like or doing things I like to do were seen as weird or not funny. And when you're around people that make you feel like your own authentic self is boring or isn't like something that's fun to be around, then when you think about it, those people probably aren't the people that you need to be around. Because your friends that probably already accepted you for who you are probably think of you as an amazing person and think of you as somebody who is entertaining and shouldn't change at all. But then you get around some other people that you want to hang around and they all think, oh, he's a weirdo, or the way he jokes, it's boring, it's lame. And what I say to that is like, don't surround yourself or put yourself in situations where you're around people that don't value your authentic self. It gets awkward. Then those are situations and people that probably just aren't compatible for you to be around. And if you force yourself to be something you're not, like let's say somebody finds what you say and your jokes boring or what you like to do boring, and you want to constantly hang around them, then you're going to put yourself in an environment to where being yourself is not okay or not accepted. And in that result, the more you're in that environment, the more you're going to feel like a lesser version of yourself or a lesser version of like, oh, I need to change this about my behavior to fit in. When I already have a group of people that already like me for who I am, and I can just be myself around them and be comfortable. And that's what we should look at in any relationship, whether it be friendships, family, or an actual like intimate relationship. Like, why would you want to be something or something like with somebody who doesn't make you feel like you're comfortable with being yourself? Now, with that being said, it can get a lot worse as far as like trying to be yourself and making you feel bad for whether intentionally or unintentionally. Sometimes not intentionally, but people making you feel bad or making you feel boring for just being you. And sometimes, and well, not even sometimes, in a lot of cases, it ends up being a learned behavior from that person. And what we need to understand is to not simply judge them as like, oh, they're just an asshole, but understand the world from their perspective and what they may have gone through to say shit like that to you or treat you in a certain way that makes you feel like you're boring or you're not valid or you feel like less of a person, and understand them and what they've been through to figure out why they act like that towards you before you just immediately judge them as an asshole. Of course, a lot of times like they're still assholes for either like telling you, hey, like, you need to like you're too sensitive or some shit, or you need to man up, or you're a snowflake for feeling that way. Like, that's not okay. But understanding where they're coming from is going to help you figure out what you should and shouldn't accept. And ultimately, you shouldn't accept things that don't make you feel like you're able to be accepted for who you are. And honestly, if you put yourself in those situations where you still are around those people, you have to end up telling yourself no. Because of course you want to tell them no. You want to tell them it's like, hey, that's just who I am, and this is how I like to be as a person, and I don't appreciate you making me feel bad for that. But sometimes it's hard to muster up the courage or confidence to say that and stand your ground because we can't tell ourselves no to be able to put ourselves out of that situation and just let things happen. So let me start off all that by talking about understanding other people's perspectives and why it's important in determining what you should and shouldn't accept. So let's say somebody was raised in an environment where your parents, like the person that you're talking to that you think is like always emotionless or stoic or doesn't really express much, and you want them to, or the way they don't express much makes you feel uncomfortable. Think about why they're probably like that. Why they're a person that's like, you say like, hi, are you excited? And like, they're like, hey, and it's like, do you want to do something today? Sure. Think about why somebody would act like that. Like, that person was probably raised in an environment to where showing emotions was frowned upon or made you seem weak or made you seem less of a man, or it's a defense mechanism to avoid being abused or bullied for that. And if you're around that environment enough, you're going to get to the point in life where you probably feel like showing emotion like that and not being stoic, unless in rare occasions, is just how you need to be to survive. Everybody's environment's not the same. Say you have somebody that calls you weak or sensitive or a snowflake for expressing your emotions or expressing your dislike for their behavior. Like say like you try to present like, hey, what you said I didn't like. I'd like to talk about it. Well, get over it, snowflake. That's on you. I'm not responsible for your emotions. You know, think about why somebody would say that. I'm not saying just simply accept their behavior, because of course that's still an asshole thing to say. And don't take that shit lying down, because somebody making your emotions invalid just because they think that you need to be an adult is not okay. It's not valid. But at the same time, what is valid is what they've probably been through to make them feel and act that way. They were probably raised in an environment where they weren't listened to, or them being sensitive themselves, them feeling those emotions was frowned upon, or they never got the attention and care for their emotions, and they were in an environment where it's like, oh, you just gotta man up and adult up and just be harder. Don't express yourself. Don't if something's bothering you, get over it. And that's the environment they were probably raised in, or those are the experiences they probably had in their childhood or youth, or hell, even in the past, as a young adult, and that's carried over to how they're acting towards you. And I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying understand them to simply just let it keep happening. It's like, oh, boys will be boys or girls will be girls. That shouldn't happen. No, it's still not okay. But you have to realize where it could be coming from and use that as determination to determine, is it worth talking to this person to try to figure this out with them? Or use that as determination like, okay, I understand where they're coming from, but it's not okay. And that will give you more the confidence to step away from that person, to leave that situation. And don't take that shit lying down, because somebody making your emotions invalid just because they think that you need to be an adult is not okay. It's not valid. But at the same time, what is valid is what they've probably been through to make them feel and act that way. They were probably raised in an environment where they weren't listened to, or them being sensitive themselves, them feeling those emotions was frowned upon, or they never got the attention and care for their emotions, and they were in an environment where it's like, oh, you just gotta man up and adult up and just be harder. Don't express yourself. Don't if something's bothering you, get over it. And that's the environment they're probably raised in, or those are the experiences they probably had in their childhood or youth, or hell, even in the past, as a young adult, and that's carried over to how they're acting towards you. And I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying understand them to simply just let it keep happening. It's like, oh, boys will be boys or girls will be girls. That shouldn't happen. No, it's still not okay. But you have to realize where it could be coming from and use that as determination to determine, is it worth talking to this person to try to figure this out with them? or use that as determination, like, okay, I understand where they're coming from, but it's not okay. And that will give you more the confidence to step away from that person, to leave that situation. And let's go back to telling yourself no and telling other people no. Because if you understand how that person's acting, and you understand that regardless of whether they've been raised in a good or bad environment or not, or been put through trauma that makes them talk that way, you still don't deserve to be treated in a way that makes you feel like you are inadequate, that your emotions are inadequate. Whether it be in a relationship, whether it be hell at work, being around coworkers that make you feel like shit just for expressing yourself, for expressing your concerns. Like, hey, you guys say too much dirty jokes around me, and I'm a woman. It's like that's not okay. And if you're not okay with it, and you say you're not okay with it, and they just express disdain for you, fuck them. At the end of the day, a lot of people nowadays are too nice or too timid, and there's nothing wrong with being. I don't want to say there's not a definition of being too nice, because I firmly believe it's nice to be nice to others. You know, niceness should be treated with niceness and kind, but at the same time, you should realize that you don't deserve to be treated that way, and you should honestly tell yourself no. Like, understand why they may be treating you that way, but ultimately, how you're being treated is not okay, and you have to tell yourself, no, I don't deserve to be treated like this. I don't deserve to be made a fool of for expressing my genuine concern of not wanting to be put in an uncomfortable situation. Because if you just let that happen, you're gonna have a lot of people, like, you're gonna probably vent to people and they say, like, you're like, oh, this happened to me at work. Just tell them no. And sometimes that's hard, especially if you don't know how to tell yourself no. If you don't believe you don't deserve that, and if you firmly believe you don't deserve to be put in an environment where their behavior directly negatively affects you, then you're going to keep on just putting yourself there over and over again and driving yourself crazy, being uncomfortable and just letting them say whatever they want to say or do what they want to do that makes you feel uncomfortable. And when you try to speak up for yourself, they're just going to put you down, and you try to stand your ground a little bit, but then you just fall off. But once you start believing in yourself and determining, like, firmly believing that, hey, I do not deserve to be treated like this in life. I deserve to be able to be my own authentic self and express my concerns and have them known, have my voice be heard. And if you don't hear me, fuck you then. Like, sure, you may have been raised in an environment where that was the norm, but hell, you're at work or you're dealing with me. I'm not your siblings. I'm not your parents. I'm a unique individual. And I refuse to be treated like somebody who, like one of your homies that you're used to joking around with or abusing in the way that you do. And tell yourself, no, I don't deserve this. No, I don't deserve to be in an environment where I can't be myself. No, I don't deserve to have my concerns shoved back in my face and being told I'm too sensitive or that I'm a snowflake or that I just need to man up. Fuck that. Your words and your feelings are valid, just as valid as theirs, in the way they were raised or the environment they were around caused them to act a certain way. And some people, of course, can't change their behavior. Don't just rule every single person out. Some people can change and realize that and mature, and that's good. People can change, mature. Hell, we're changing. I made this self-improvement channel to talk about changing and talk about improving yourself. People can change. People can mature. You can change. You can mature too. Like, we all, like, you're probably watching this video to try to make a change in your behavior or see changes in other people's behavior. Let that determine who you want to keep in your life. and who you need to avoid or call out or walk away from. But again, at the end of the day, we need to try to understand where others are coming from with their behavior and use that understanding not necessarily to just let them do that, not just be boys will be boys, but to determine if you're going to allow that behavior to affect you, if it's negatively affecting you, whether it be emotional abuse, physical abuse, whether it be somebody who you just feel uncomfortable around, or you're trying to impress but they just don't show any emotion. It's like at the end of the day, there's billions of people out there. That's just one person. Like, let them go. You have like so many more years to live that why would you waste your time on somebody that who's incompatible for you, who's making you feel like shit, when you have friends, family, and other people that you know damn well love you for who you are, appreciate you as a person. I've been told many times when I was walling myself to despair, it's like the people that I took for granted that actually did, not even told me every day, it's like, you're awesome, you're not boring. But I felt boring. I kept putting myself in a situation around somebody who thought I was boring, who just I had to keep on changing myself for. But I didn't have to change myself at all for my friends. Think about that. Think about what you deserve. And don't let other people who may be miserable or may have been raised a different way make you feel like shit. Because you're just as valid as them. And you don't need to stay in those environments. So remember to tell yourself no first. Think about what you deserve and tell yourself, do I deserve this? And once you make that determination, use that determination to be able to tell them no, that you're not taking that lying down, that you're going to stand your ground, or you're going to walk away from them. You're going to walk away, leave, and throw away the key and never look back. But that's what I wanted to say today. I hope this helps you out. It's definitely something that I've come to a big revelation on. As this trip from that clarity, I want you to be safe. Have a good one. We're going to heal and get through this together. You have a great day. Peace.